Welcome back. Today we're going to talk about urgency. Lately, I've been playing with this idea that urgency is actually a trauma symptom, or at least it seems to be the case for me. I've not often thought about urgency as a trauma symptom, but in many ways, this immediacy that we need to attend to things, to get things off our plate, is actually a trauma response and is within the kind of realm and family of anxiety, as well as regaining a sense of control. So, for myself, I notice this show up when, say, an email or a text comes in, or if I have a great idea for something, there's this sense that I need to attend to it right now. Otherwise, it's not going to be what I want it to be. So, this urgency comes from this sense that essentially that I don't trust myself to be able to remember and to be able to follow through in the way that I would like to. So I'd like you to pay attention to where you notice something needs to be done right now when that might actually not be the case, that it's okay if it gets done next week or next month, later in the day, or even next year. But there's this anxiety response that goes throughout our system, triggering that fight or flight response that says something is undone. And when it's undone, you must get on top of it to be able to control it and to be able to have it off of your plate. Now, the downside of this that I've definitely noticed for myself is that my urgency makes me impatient with others. It causes me to run around quite manically and frantically trying to get something done instead of being really mindful about what it is that I'm actually trying to accomplish. So rather than enjoying the process and allowing myself to be creative, enjoying something, I'm more focused on just getting it done rather than being mindful of the steps that are taken throughout the process that could in fact be enjoyable. In reflection, I absolutely know that this comes from my own childhood, and it's interesting to watch the impatience within myself because I do think I'm a fairly patient person with others, but I'm not patient when it comes to myself. When we're thinking about this urgency, it can also show up within the realm of people pleasing. So there's this sense that if we don't call someone back right away, if we don't respond to a text or an email, that we create this story that people might somehow think that we are abandoning them or that we're not important, or that it's our job to take care of everyone and make sure everyone is happy. And if that's not happening, then we feel anxious and out of control. Most things in life can wait 5 minutes. But evolutionary-wise, we are trained to respond to danger. And our brain and our body reacts with this sense of urgency because it has this idea that we are in danger. And the brain is constantly scanning, trying to problem solve. So when we have this sense of urgency behind something, there's often the sense that the brain is scanning for danger and trying to solve the problem and wondering why you're not solving a problem faster than you should be. Now, urgency isn't always a bad thing. It often is incredibly motivating. It can be a huge element of the creative process in so many ways, but it's about how it makes you feel. So does it feel like it's something that's spurring you on to something exciting, and are you allowing yourself to enjoy that excitement? Or does it feel more like the close cousin of excitement, which is anxiety, around this racing thoughts and this urgency to get it done? Now, why do I say that excitement and anxiety are close cousins? I say this because they have a similar physiological response. When we are excited, our heart rate and our breathing rate goes up, and we get this buzzy sense of excitement within our bodies. And anxiety is often the same as that, but within anxiety, we interpret that as danger rather than joy or excitement. So I'd really like you to reflect on these times in your day where there's this striving and pushing through for something to happen faster than it is happening, rather than being able to take a breath, be mindful, and just be curious about when you're doing it. I'm definitely working on this at the moment, just trying to check in to see and be curious about when I'm successful at this and when my anxious brain takes over and the urgency wins out. And if I was to put a percentage on that, I would say, maybe 40% of the time I'm successful in being able to sit with the discomfort of that urgency. And I'm still at the place where I am about 60% being overridden and driving through that urgency. So I am definitely going to be working on that more because it's causing a little bit of havoc and anxiety that doesn't need to be there. I would really invite you to reflect on urgency and how it shows up in your life, whether it shows up as anxiety or excitement, and whether you can also look back into childhood and see whether this is actually an adaptive response to trauma that got a little out of hand at some point. I hope this gives you food for thought and reflection. Please feel free to comment, like, and subscribe. I'm so happy that you're here. And I have 2 other courses that I'm super excited about. So I have our trauma recovery method, and I have meditation through the senses. And both of those are in the description below. I hope you have a beautiful day and that you feel a little freer from your sense of urgency.